going. They're doing. Hi guys, I was calm the entire time. No, all right, I will wait for people to come here. There's Courtney's in between us, but that's not very far. Ooh. Happy birthday, Kurt Cobain. And happy day in jail eventually to some buddies involved in what they did to Kurt Cobain and humanity. And I hope Courtney is listening to these, and Callie and whoever else. I have to write this so it looks better with having a black screen. Press the CC button for subtitles. There we go. All right. I'm just going to stream the day away. It's Kurt Cobain's birthday. Do you think spiritually, in actuality, maybe if he was here, well, yeah, if he was here in the third dimension in his body still, it would be his 28th birthday. But, you know, everything goes on. I don't know, like when I've had dreams of Kurt, he's been his age that he died at and below that. Same with Eric and Dylan from Columbine. I've had dreams with them. But I've had dreams with them only at the age that they died at and younger. And same with my friend Hunter, who I know since public school. He died maybe 4 years ago now, and I hadn't seen him since grade 7. And I've been having dreams with him, and he's only his younger self that I remember him as. Never do I see him as his adult self when I didn't know him. It's kind of weird how you never see them grow older, but when you're lucid or having a vivid dream with anybody that's died, you see them at the age that they were when they died and or younger. Never older. I've heard some people say that, but I've never seen it, I think. I haven't. Maybe it's because they're in our consciousness, how we knew them, in our mind, like how we knew them. But I know spirits can still reach out. I mean, I must not be right because I've seen spirit beings that I hadn't met. Like I lived in my grandfather's house and his family built it back in like the 1930s. And they all died in that house. And I seen 3 of them, of their ghosts. And I have never met them, obviously, when they were alive. So it's not like they were just in my consciousness. I'm probably not associating that older self of Hunter and anyone else, spirit beings on the other side with who they are then. I seen Danny in a dream right before he died, and he was his 1994 self that I seen in a photo. And we were sitting, guys, I'm serious. In the dream, I was sitting at a table with Danny and some girl with blonde hair, short blonde hair. And she looked at Danny and I and said, "Thank you both for doing this. I shot myself with a double-barrel shotgun." And I don't know who she is, but she had blonde hair, short blonde hair, probably blue eyes, and she was skinny and white. And we were sitting in like a restaurant or something. And then Danny got up and he walked through a door and he waved at me. And then I woke up and I told Danny, and that was the same day Danny died. Well, going into early morning time. I remember telling him and thinking he doesn't really believe me, but he's like, "No, I believe you." I can't prove that to anybody, but that did happen. And then Tom Grant called him. That was the same time that Tom Grant called him that week. Actually, no, it wasn't. That was right before that, like days before, because that was the same week that he died, that Tom called Danny on Messenger, or actually on his phone, because I gave Danny Tom's phone number, and then Danny called him. But I don't want people to exploit my friend Daniel Clint Rich. He did not have involvement in killing Kurt. He loves Kurt and Francis. And if anything, he was only used to get Courtney down to Seattle. That's it. He didn't have to go to the house on April 7th, and that wasn't when the murder took place. The murder already took place on Sunday, April 3rd, not Tuesday, April 5th, like all these media articles are putting out. They're not even getting the date of his death right. The killers are literally smarter than all these other people putting out articles. That's what it seems like. And then Friday, April 8th, Danny goes there because he heard the news of a death, and he's thinking, whoa, what the fuck? This is where Courtney also lives. Courtney Love, because he obviously knew she was married to Kurt. He knew that when she was rehearsing right next to him in the studio. So then on Friday he comes thinking, what the fuck happened here? And then he thinks for years and years that he drove Courtney, flew Courtney there, and then she killed him on the 7th. But that's not what happened. And thankfully Danny knew that before he died, that it was way earlier than when she was brought down, if he was the one that did it. I think he is. Tom Grant took a separate plane. A separate flight, I mean. But he has nothing to do with it. And Courtney didn't kill Kurt. She got people to kill him. Mark Lanigan, Dylan Carlson, and one or two other people. I think one of them is John Hicks. That person that Lanigan was mentioning in that chapter about him and Kurt and Tom Grant and Dylan. Knowing how he likes to mix things up and distort the truth. Everyone's like, Lanigan's a monster? No way. They haven't even read his autobiography or listened to it. But still, we shouldn't be calling people monsters. We should actually look at the situation for what it is and help them spiritually. Their spirits are still around. And damn right, Mark and Kurt and everyone and Danny is feeling a lot today. And I just feel that through my body when I say that. We should help their spirits. I mean, what's the opposite of helping them and making things feel good and be good consciously? Making everything a lot worse and full of more hate, being scared, being haunted, being scared about the afterlife when we get there, being afraid while we're in the lucid dreaming state because we're being assholes to people. That's not going to bring about peace. And if you want to call people a monster, well, you got to be careful about what you call them. Just like when you call people crazy or whatever, sometimes they might want to show you how crazy they are and how right you are. I think we should help this situation, not be another nuisance, just like Courtney is. I blessed them all though. Kurt, Danny, Mark, El Duce, even Gigi Allen that most people would hate. And my friend Stanton LaVey even really appreciated me because I would friend people that the world was afraid of or judging in a bad way. Stanton, his grandfather, started the Church of Satan in 1966. Stanton died about 3 years ago now. But I don't hate them. I know Gigi Allen, he's done a lot of fucking things wrong that I feel like if I was actually there, I'd be like, I hate that, obviously, but it's when I watched the documentary and how he suffered when he was little and his father was schizophrenic and named Gigi Allen Jesus Christ and thought he was the Messiah. He tried to kill his family by digging up holes in the basement for Gigi and his brother and his mom. His mom got them out of that situation. There's a lot of abuse and awfulness there that should never have happened, and I feel really sorry for him, especially when he's telling an audience that he's going to kill himself, and they're saying, do it now. That made me actually cry, and I was watching that, and I'm like, the world was actually like this before I was born. It was this fucking horrible. People are that horrible to people that are getting hurt, that are hurt. And people that are hurt sometimes turn into they do horrible things sometimes. But what do you say? Let's just keep making things horrible, or let's give love where no one's giving it? And let's see change. Positive change. Gigi Allen is a victim too. His schizophrenic dad that was an abuser. I don't hate Mark Lanigan. I don't hate Danny, of course. I don't hate any of them. And that's going to really not make you feel good if you just want to hate somebody. You can stay away from them and not have to hate them. There's so many people, there's billions of people to hate as well. But I think love and care should be shined on the places where people don't want to put it, because it deserves to be there. As a collective, we're all in this together. You see people like Gigi Allen on the street. I mean, you have in history, so, and they've been around everybody. Why not try to help those people and make this better for us all together, like a community, like Kurt Cobain was doing? Like a community of like the Salvation Army employees and people that shop there, all getting along together, being friends. But imagine that was the world. Would be something. I get so pissed sometimes when I watch Nirvana concerts now, seeing all those people there and the security, and being like, why couldn't those people all just be there at the house when this happened? Nothing would have happened to Kurt if that was the case. I cried just looking at that Nirvana, I think 1992, many of them, but it's the concert where they're outside and you see all the people, thousands of people, and they're all screaming and cheering and have their arms up and are all moving and are all happy for Kurt's presence. Like it's something huge, even bigger than Scientology, even though that was just a farce. This was the real thing. And people felt it. You didn't even have to say it. You didn't even have to find the words to describe it. You were in it. That was my 2013 experience with it all. And I thought Kurt was still alive in 2013. I was going to meet him. I wanted to do something on YouTube with him with music and music videos of like putting the past together and lucid dreaming references. And then I realized he died, and I believe the suicide narrative. A lot of brain damage came out of that. But I'm still standing, and I'm not someone that just wants to look pretty on camera. I'm not even putting myself on camera right now. I really have a drive to make something change in this situation with this case. And I'm not sucking up to the people in the mainstream media that will listen to me. So how am I ever going to get this message out there in a big way about what actually happened to Kurt Cobain and who did it? How am I going to get those details out when everybody involved in the mainstream media wants to ignore me and ignore Joe in a way of ignoring what he's actually saying? And why cover up Thursday, April 7th now? Why cover up Courtney's involvement in Tom Grant? CT says, or Jamal Millwood says that, leave Courtney out of it and everything. And it's just really weird. What fucking other homicide case do you see on YouTube where people are leaving out certain names because it won't benefit that person's career and people might get sued? They say it anyway. If you want to sue us, please fucking do. It's about time you do. Right? It's about time she fucking sues somebody for saying she had Kurt killed. Why hasn't she done that? It's been 32 years almost. Courtney, you're a big, big victim. Why haven't you sued these people? You've been a victim ever since you were 2 years old and your father gave you drugs, remember? And you remember that because you're not able to remember anything at that age, you moron. Courtney, look up which age as a baby you can remember stuff, then lie. Oh my gosh. But I see Tom Grant and all them, and Courtney knows it's an inside job. It's an inside cover-up. And she's going to be walking around smiling all the time still. We're going to see new photos like that of her as long as we cover up Thursday, April 7th, just like these people that are controlling YouTubers want to do. And for some reason, they want to leave that out of Joe's book. Just leave Courtney out of it. I know Tom Grant's seen the body, but let's just leave that out of it. What the fuck? Yeah, and he even says, I know Tom's seen the body before the body was discovered, but we're not going to go there. And now we're just going to cover it up. Now we're just going to not acknowledge it at all. That's cool. Not. And they're trying to control what Joe says. I don't like that. I think it's someone like me and you that has to just put this information out. We can't rely on people in the mainstream media because they'll control what we say. They'll control how we say it and whose name we're allowed to say and not say. That's so stupid. There's so many cold cases where they say everybody's name that's involved in killing the person. What, she's an A-lister celebrity? We just got to let her get away with it? It is infuriating. They're literally trying to cover up Thursday, April 7th, which even Millwood, Jamal, would understand that proves that Tom was there with Courtney and Dylan and Mark when Callie and Joe and Jessica and Jennifer were leaving. Tom was the creeper creeping around taking photos that night. And they're like, let's get the fuck out. Kurt was already dead at that time. Why are they covering up Courtney Love and Tom Grant being there on Thursday, April 7th? But he's saying, I believe Tom Grant was there before the body was found and seen the body in the greenhouse. But now he's trying to cover that up too. So of course Courtney's walking around with a smile on her face in new photos. It's an inside cover-up that she believes nobody's going to bust right open. Because it looks like the Cobain case is already busted open. Meanwhile, it's not, based on soaked in bleach and whatever misinformation is out there. This is the fucking real information, and they're trying to cover up Thursday, April 7th. Tom Grant and Courtney being there, and Dylan, and Mark. We can place them all there at the same time, and Callie. There's no way he missed the greenhouse and missed Courtney. He's missing way too much stuff if that's the case. That wow is him walking up and seeing the body. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had involvement in their lives before this happened. It's sort of looking like that. But now we have the internet. I don't think they didn't know how popular and mainstream the internet would be back then in 1994. They really didn't. It didn't really even become popular until like, I don't know. Probably with the newer generations around 2011, every kid started getting a stupid tablet. So now we have all the information, and we could tell which photos Tom or whoever did altered them. Like we can tell where they altered them. They didn't rely on us having this technology. We're not supposed to. Back in the 90s, it would only be the police officers that have the kind of technology we have now. So we could use these times against them regarding those times. I can't believe I told Tom how to work some piece of technology. It feels like that's one thing I shouldn't have done in life, because that goes deep in my life anyway. Kurt Cobain would be 56 or 57, right? $58, 59 years old. Holy crap. That's way too long to be murdered. And imagine it being 100 years. Fuck, no, that won't happen. You would have been 60 years old, you asshole, Courtney Love. And I bet the world would be really different today, because celebrity influence has a lot of power over people all around the world, especially now with the fact that we have all these cell phones and computers. You want to know why Courtney Love's still smiling? It's because the Cobain case is an inside job. So is the staging of the greenhouse. So is the murder. So is the gang stalking that was happening to Kurt at the time. It all lines up together. And we can figure this out, or we can go another 32 years. But they'll be dead. Only we will still be alive. Wow. This is the way it's supposed to be, too. They want it to be like this. Isn't that weird? In the Matrix, how they're like, don't focus on the woman in the red dress, and she's a blonde. And that guy, Neo, used to hang out with Kurt Cobain at like concerts sometimes, venues in the 90s or 80s, late 80s. But there's a fake photograph of them together, but they were known to actually have known each other. And the Matrix is everything Kurt despised, which is a world controlled by tyrants that are abusing everybody around you that you love and care about, and that should love and care about everybody else around them. But unfortunately, that's not happening. We're focused way too much on materialism. And it's just getting worse. It's like a really, really bad 90s Goosebumps episode that they had to take off of the air or something. For me, just thinking back to what would be really scary when I was a kid. Imagine being a baby and knowing what all this stuff meant and hearing, some celebrity involved in the Epstein stuff being spoken about by the trafficking stuff, and being a baby and just seeing their responses, just laughing like a maniac, like a supervillain. That would creep me the fuck out. I can't believe he'd be 60. I've never had a dream with Kurt where he's old, like any age. I haven't seen him be in a photograph or a video. Actually, those ghosts that I did see way back in my grandfather's house, it probably would be the same to them. They'd probably just be as old as they were when they died, and younger, since we're multidimensional. But I understand. We should remain dumb and ignorant and focus on sex. Let the A-lister celebrities know about this stuff and their little cults. When you line up the dates and statements, something very disturbing starts to emerge. It appears that Tom Grant has been involved in staging events both before and after Kurt's death, especially through phone calls and activity connected to the greenhouse. Let's look at the timeline. Sunday, April 3rd, 1994, 2:32 a.m. This is the actual date and timing of Kurt Cobain's murder. This is also when suspicious phone calls and search activity. And I found that out. Why? Because, well, just like Ian Halperin said or whatever, you'll find out the actual time of Kurt's death only through the killers. Only the killers would know. Well, Mark Lanigan, thank you for cryptically telling us a whole fucking lot. I picked up on it, and I hope you do too. I know a lot of other people have too, and it doesn't matter who gets known for this. Just when we've uncovered this, get it out. That's what Kurt would want right away in 1994. So when you know it now, just get it all out. In his last book, his last album, his last interviews, it's all there. But if people don't want to look, they're not going to see it. It began between Courtney, Tom, Mark, Dylan, and Callie. All of the other individuals involved in the Kurt Cobain murder. That suggests that staging had started immediately. Immediately after Mark and Dylan and a third individual cornered and attacked Kurt in his basement, and then Kurt was shot through his hard palate by Mark Lanigan at 2:32 a.m. that very same day that the phone calls were being staged. So Thursday, April 7th, 1994, obviously they staged the phone calls later on that day in the morning or afternoon, whenever. I know I lose people when I say I know the exact time Kurt died, but it comes from the killer himself, the one that is being spoken about by the eyewitness, Joe Burns. So that's not just me looking up things and thinking random shit. There's all these connections there, even the unsolved mystery tips, linking back to Tammy Hill and in his autobiography that he thanked for being one of the closest people to him. She was telling people in 1997, basically probably things that he was telling her then. Love flew to Seattle, possibly from by Danny. Tom Grant also flew down to Seattle as well on that very same day, on a ticket that Courtney herself had paid for Tom. So that same day, Dylan Carlson was in the greenhouse, and Courtney was reportedly there wearing a red dress. Look at that photo of Courtney. This was the same date that Maureen Herman was speaking about Dylan talking to her about when she got high with him, that him and Courtney had seen the body a day before the police found it. That was Thursday, April 7th. The next day was Friday when they knew the body would be found by the electrician that Courtney called and hired to do work on the house and the greenhouse. Try not to make it too specific, knowing that he would see what's in the greenhouse. That she's sitting in front of the mirror and you can see she looks exactly like Kurt Cobain from behind. Dylan admitted being there. Maureen, I forget her name completely, but it will be in the description from Babes in Toyland, said that she got high with Dylan and that Dylan admitted that he and Courtney saw Kurt the day before the body was found. So that places Courtney, Dylan, Mark, and Tom in the same location at the same time, right before the discovery. People close to them later confirmed that Courtney and Dylan were together in the greenhouse there. That Maureen, on April 7th, a day before, Courtney knew that the body would be discovered by Gary Smith. Sorry, not people, just that one girl from Babes in Toyland. And Courtney hired Gary Smith, and she knew that he would be there on April 8th to do work on the house and the greenhouse. She tried to get him to go there on Tuesday, but he couldn't do that. He had to reschedule. So Tuesday, April 5th. She had more time to go there before the body would most definitely be discovered. Tom was also with Dylan and Mark at the house on Thursday, April 7th. We know that. So that means that Tom Grant, Courtney Love, and Dylan Carlson and Mark Lanigan were all connected on that exact same day. Others were involved as well. So Eric Erlandson, Callie DeWitt, and phone calls were staged. The search efforts, they were staged. And the crime scene, that was staged. So all of those three things were all staged by all of the very same individuals. Wow. So, yeah, that's it. And if we don't want to believe that, well, we have another 31 years to figure it out. And all that staging began as soon as they knew that Kurt was dead, with the phone calls between Tom and Courtney as well, on Sunday, April 3rd. And that explains why the calls started on April 3rd, on Sunday. They weren't searching, they weren't managing, and they were managing a narrative all along. They weren't searching, but they were managing a narrative all along. They still are. 33, wow. So then on April 8th, when they arrived in Seattle, more staging happened inside the greenhouse. Tom Grant is now discrediting eyewitnesses like Joe Burns and Bonnie Dillard, and Tom and Danny. And Tom is also getting other YouTubers to do that for him as well. Courtney was there, Tom was there, Mark was there, Dylan was there, and Bonnie and Callie, and possibly Jessica and Jennifer were finally all leaving the house once they knew that Courtney Love was arriving with some other private investigator. And the private investigator was creeping around taking photos. He's known as the creeper. That person was not Danny. That was Tom. And he won't even acknowledge that to this day. So they left when they knew Courtney Love was arriving there with Tom Grant, the private investigator, who was walking around and taking photos of people as well. And that's when they looked back, Bonnie and Joe, and they seen someone in the greenhouse that looked like Kurt, wearing a red dress, who looks exactly like Kurt from behind. Courtney Love. So to me, all this points to a coordinated effort involving Courtney Love, Tom Grant, Mark Lanigan, Dylan Carlson, Eric Erlandson, Callie DeWitt, and possibly others. The ones who are alive still today who matter in this case are Tom, Courtney, Dylan, Eric, and Callie. Too many dates, statements, and locations. As well as Bonnie and Joe, of course, as the eyewitnesses. Line up for this to be a coincidence. It looks like Courtney had to see the body the day before she knew the electrician would definitely be at the house and definitely discovered the body and then called the police to report it. It's like she had to see it before the police were there to remove the body. And not just rely on Dylan and Mark and Callie staging the crime scene and then having the media get a hold of the photos. Yeah, everything that Grant had gathered would have been enough for him to put a stop and re-examine the case as soon as the week after the murder. But he hasn't done that. And a lot of kids and adults have killed themselves and are living today with even brain damage and everything because they thought drugs were cool to abuse and everything. I bet it weighs down on Tom. That's probably why he's like, you shouldn't kill yourself. Don't do it. Even though he's saying this is a murder. Yeah. And it looks like she definitely took part in the staging to make sure that it was done correctly. And so did Tom and the others. Everybody. Remember the staging of the phone calls? Kurt! 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 Oh my God. Please save this video. It's very important information. We've got it now. Now we know what happened. She wasn't there during the murder, neither was Tom, but they were there on Thursday, April 7th with Dylan and Mark. And that's when Callie, Joe, and Jennifer, and possibly Jessica all left the house, finally. For good. And I think they then went to Jennifer Adamson's mother's place for a bit, and then I think Jimmy Boyle, I'm not sure if Joe went to Jimmy Boyle's though, but it's known that he did, or Courtney at least thought that he did. And that's why she was saying that Tom Grant on that audio tape. See, Tom Grant put out things he regrets putting out. For sure. Especially with that search in Soaked in Bleach. He should have left out the part where he's like, just say this, just call out his name a lot, just do this. He should have left that part out. I'm glad he didn't. I just want to go over that Soaked in Bleach part again. I'm really obsessed with that, where he's walking up and seeing the body and saying, wow. And I'm not going to, like, I think I'm just going to keep it, like, if you want to see in past videos where we've uncovered this, then watch those. We're way ahead of the mainstream media here on this channel. So much so, it's kind of freaky. And it's pathetic on their part. All right, sweet, Emmy. Let me see. Here we go. When the staging of the crime scene in the greenhouse was happening by Mark, Dylan, Tom, and Courtney, Thursday, April 7th. This is not the night, early morning of the murder that happened on Sunday, April 3rd. This is Thursday, April 7th at nighttime, a day before Courtney and the rest of them, Tom, Mark, and Dylan, knew that Kurt's body would be discovered by the electrician who was set to be there on Friday, April 8th by Courtney herself. And Callie. She tried to get the electrician to find the body on Tuesday, April 5th, but he had to reschedule for Friday, April 8th. So this is them there on April 7th, Thursday, the day before they knew the body was going to be discovered, and they really had to stage things perfectly before the media got a hold of everything. So Tom is actually getting out of the vehicle with Dylan and possibly Mark and Courtney, and walking up to the greenhouse. You will hear that he is out of breath and that he knows exactly what's coming.
Here we go. Wow.
That is Tom seeing the body.
Wow. Wow.
Tom staging the search for Dylan and Mark.
Call out. While you're in there, call out. Say, Kurt, hello, Kurt. You know, make a lot of noise. Kurt! Kurt!
Tom should have left Dylan out of this recording where he's telling him what to do.
Kurt! You got a statue or something in here. Are those illegal if you get stopped?
No.
They're not?
No, they're prescriptions from England. They're over the counter in England.
Tom covering for the illegal drugs on him and Dylan and Courtney. And Mark.
Wow. Wow.
His wow is not in response to Dylan and the drugs being okay to have on them. As well as for Courtney and for Mark.
Here we go. Wow. 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 Call out while you're in there. Call out. Say, Kurt, hello, Kurt. Make a lot of noise. Kurt! 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 You got a statue or something in here? Are those illegal to get stopped?
No.
They're not?
No, they're prescriptions from England. They're over the counter in England.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I'm going to find in the last 48 hours of Kurt Cobain, that part where Tom Grant's actually letting us listen to more of the search. Just one moment.
Well, I got a phone call from Steve himself.
Let's see. Oh, it's right here. Second.
Night of the most upscale neighborhoods in the Pacific Northwest. With huge Linda's town.
Oh my gosh.
House involving friends, band members, and representatives. Abusive.
From experience.
Where the heck is that? Okay, I found it perfectly. Just a second.
I had been talking on the phone with Courtney's attorney, Rosemary Carroll, and with Courtney, and decided it'd be best for me to go up there myself.
Despite not having a license to operate in Washington, he flew to Seattle to meet up with one of Kurt's friends, Dylan Carlson, to start looking for him. Later that night, Grant and Carlson went to the house at Lake Washington. This is an audio recording of the visit.
I want to say that, if anything, if Tom is innocent before he was hired, then they just happened to see it, and Courtney wanted him to find it on purpose, and they wanted to blame it on a suicide. But then Tom started to get suspicious over time that there was more to it. But meanwhile, he had already covered up for them. Because Dylan, remember, he said to Marine Herman, he said, like, oh, we didn't want to call the police because I didn't want to get in trouble because I bought him the gun. So that's exactly what Dylan would have said to Tom. That's probably more likely what happened. Unless anyone else can really prove that Tom was working with Courtney before this. Before April 3rd.
Can you just open the door for me? Kurt? I'm going to follow you through here because you know where everything is.
Because you know where everything is. So Dylan's like leading him, telling him everything. If they wanted Tom Grant to discover the body there, Courtney did. Of course she did. And she would have found it with him and controlled the situation. Well, he's the one that bought the gun. Oh my God, I can't believe he killed himself. Tom would have been like, wow. Wow. Just like in the audio recording. So the staging might have even been done. But Tom would have seen the body and didn't report it and believed what Dylan was telling him and Courtney.
Does this go up another story?
But crucially, they don't look in.
And if anything, this is on Thursday when they come there before he's seen the body. So he's genuinely searching for Kurt, and Dylan is leading him, knowing he's going to eventually see the body. So keep that in mind while listening to Dylan's voice.
Greenhouse, the site where Kurt's body would eventually be found. Tom Grant says he didn't notice the greenhouse, and as a result, Kurt Cobain lies undiscovered for a further 2 days.
See, and that would explain right there why they say that, and why he's covering for that. Everyone that watches Soaked in Bleach, even Joe Rogan was like, you missed the greenhouse? I don't think so. Like, they're shaking their heads over it.
You didn't search the It's sloppy, isn't it?
Well, that part of it, I'll tell you. First of all, I was in a hurry to get in there and get out of there because I didn't want him showing up while we were there. But I agree. And my first...
In there and out of there really quick, because you've seen it and you're like, oh, shit. Yeah, I believe Dylan and Courtney would have told him, oh, my God, I can't believe he killed himself, because they were already going there with, Tom having in mind that Kurt was suicidal and everything. That's what Courtney was telling Tom. We know that. He said it himself.
Response when we found out that he was up in that greenhouse both times we were there, I was embarrassed because I blew it and the electrician found the body and I didn't.
That sounded really nervous. Let's listen to Tom say that again.
And the electrician found the body and I didn't. Both times we were there,
Right.
I was embarrassed because I blew it and the electrician found the body and I didn't. Both times we were there, I was embarrassed because I blew it and the electrician found the body and I didn't.
Doesn't he sound like he's lying? He doesn't sound really confident in that statement. Meanwhile, he's really confident in a lot of other statements.
And the electrician found the body and I didn't.
That's a good audio to clip.
Both times we were there, I was embarrassed because I blew it and the electrician found the body and I didn't. Wow.
His wow is not in response.
Wow. Here we go. Wow. 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 Call out while you're in that call.
So he would be genuinely searching for Kurt there with Dylan and Mark and Courtney. If anything, Courtney went in the greenhouse right before Tom and Dylan did, and Dylan and Mark would have been directing Tom in the house while Courtney's in the greenhouse putting the letter there that she had wrote the last 5 lines to. That makes more sense. That's exactly her kind of manipulative work right there. Sneaky stuff. I think it's kind of weird that all this is coming too on Kurt's birthday. The realizations of this. That's him seeing the body. There's no way that's in response to we're allowed to have those illegal drugs on all of us. And open the movie like that. What the fuck?
Here we go. Wow. Wow.
I bet Courtney Love came out of the greenhouse acting and like, oh my gosh, Tom, Dylan, Mark, come here. He's killed himself. He's fucking killed himself. Probably.
Wow.
Because they were searching for him. That sounds like someone that's not searching for anyone anymore. That sounds like someone that's seen a conclusion of what they are involved in.
Call out. Wow. Wow.
Like his search is done now. He's found the body.
Call out while you're in there. Call out. Say, Kurt,
This is better looking.
make a lot of noise.
Kurt!
So I'm picking up more and more on it while repeating this. They are manipulating Tom. They know where Kurt is. Courtney would be in the greenhouse on that day, probably obviously putting the letter there. And then she either freaks out or she pretends that she was in the house still. And then Tom and Dylan go around to the greenhouse. Courtney probably did freak out and make a scene saying he killed himself. Because Tom walking up to it and saying wow like that is not like you didn't know it was coming. It's like somebody would have told him. Knowing that, let's listen to that again.
Wow. Wow. Call out.
And he probably only snipped 1 second out of it because any more seconds into it, you could probably hear other people like Courtney Love herself and Mark and Dylan. That's why we only get a fraction of a second, not even a full second of an audio clip. Wow. Well, fuck. And so that means he would probably be blackmailing them now that he knows it was a murder. Maybe not, but he still doesn't want to. He would have believed that it was a suicide at that time, and he would have chosen to cover up for Mark and Dylan and Callie because they bought the gun. Let's just let the police discover this. You know? Let's just not say we were there. In the greenhouse, at least. We were only in the house part. Wow. That means the phone calls aren't staged. It's only Courtney staging them, not Tom, I mean. She goes there with Tom on the same day. That makes more sense, too, why she would go there on the same day with Tom, because she would want to make a scene and have the body found with Tom. And then come up with their excuse, oh, we bought the gun. Oh, he bought the gun, Dylan. And then Tom hides the greenhouse part, and he can't even say that confidently. Because he would have actually thought it was a suicide at that time, and it was a big case. Like, this is going to really nail me and put me in jail. Like, I can't. I didn't even, like, he literally killed himself. So, wow. It would be cool if he lived in like an old barn or something and made it really cool. That I could see him doing. And have flea markets every day. And chip trucks. And concerts. And a skate park. And that would fit in with Tony Hawk, his son, and everything. Get X Games there. Just put all the cool in the world in one place. Bam Margera, Bam. I can see him being involved in all of it too. All the really cool extreme people that go against the mold that stand out. It's only Courtney that wanted to live there at 171 Lake Washington Boulevard East. It's the house that Hank said has the bad feng shui. I wish that Kurt had that gun on him when he was attacked, of course. We all do. Like in that very, very moment of being attacked. Like I have an older brother that was into like a hard life and drugs, and like there would be fights breaking out and everything and weird shit. It's kind of scary when you think of it. That just reminds me of Katja saying that. Literally an attack with drug dealers happening. Mark was a drug dealer at that time. Are you at the park right now? Right? I love the Amsterdam one. That's the one where he's in the white hospital gown, right? And he's like on shrooms. That was the best performance. Oh wow, they have it in 4K now. Holy shit! Yeah, they really like smash the equipment at the end, and like they get pissed off at them. Different park in Seattle. Cool though. That's awesome. I wonder if you'll run into who, Dylan. If I was Dylan though, I would be making myself look different in public now. Sorry. But wow. Courtney is the Jody Arias that should have been caught years ago. And now that we know what happened, oh my gosh, and like Global or whatever saying, let Kurt Cobain rest in peace. These new theories need to stop. I hope whoever wrote that sometime like in their life they see some crime and then they have someone telling them, no, you did not see what you see because the official narrative is different from what you personally seen happen. And I hope they feel hopeless and so much despair about not being listened to and believed. Just like they're doing the job. And whatever little Bonnie said to anybody. So Bonnie, Joe, Jennifer, and Callie. Those are the main people there with Kurt. And Jessica is around somewhere. Maybe not at the time. Because they were always going in and out of the house. Or on heroin and sleeping, right? Nodding out. Sorry, but okay. To get to the point, from what I understand from Joe, they were all in the basement. Kurt, Joe, Bonnie, Jennifer, and Callie. Mark and Dylan and some other people came and cornered him in a part of the basement. Kurt. They were trying to get him to go up to the greenhouse to do some heroin with them, away from everybody else around them, around Mark and Dylan and the rest of the other individual or two other individuals with them, and Kurt. And Kurt did not agree. He wouldn't agree. He wouldn't budge. that even tells a story about Kurt Cobain and his attitude, and that's pretty much the person he was. Like, from what I gathered all these years, like, fuck you, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm doing things my own way, my own creative way, about anything I want to do it regarding. And he was that way right till the end of his stay here, in his original third dimension body form, to be specific. But I'll try to stray away from talking like that. Not many people are ready to take that in. Yeah, but what they did is they cornered him in that basement. So if you didn't have the gun right beside you at that moment, you can't get to it. Imagine if a bunch of drug dealers came in your home and cornered you in a corner in your home, and it's the opposite corner of where the gun is. If anything, one of them's going to see the gun and grab it. Well, you can't do it. Well, you can't do that. And then your weapon is taken away from you and you don't have a gun. And then everything, you're in danger. But Kurt kept disagreeing to go up there. Oh, I wish that he used that pepper spray. Maybe he did. But he was hit by something, and that's coming from Joe. It would come from Bonnie, too, if she would speak up. And I don't know how they covered it up, but they did. I mean, if they hit him on the forehead in the front area of his face, look at the autopsy. His forehead was caved in parts because of the bullets and everything. And there was a lot of redness and bruising. That could easily be covered up right there. Maybe they shot it in his mouth that way, right up close in his hard palate, right up to his forehead for that specific reason. No one's considered that before, not even me, until now. I think I did a bit, but I want to entertain that a bit more. I think that would make sense too, as to why they didn't just shove it normally in his mouth and shoot. They tilted it to the left and up and to the right a bit, up into the really top part of his hard palate, to make damage really close to the front of his face for some reason. I'm not going to make things up or leave anything out. Joe Burns, who was there, that's what he's seen. He doesn't like to think about it or speak about it, but he was hit with something. We don't know if that knocked Kurt out, though. But he was then, he came out of that basement unconscious. And they just came in really quickly and did that. I imagine they probably injected him right there, but even Joe said they could have injected him more while he was in the greenhouse. But I'm going to add they could have just injected him in the greenhouse. But I think definitely they would have in the basement. Because if there was a possibility he was still struggling, he could yell. So they would want to have him unconscious before they bring him outside. to move him up to the greenhouse. Yeah, even sometimes seconds, like, and the amount that was in him. And multiple injection sites. That's what they don't take in too. He doesn't do that and inject himself with a whole bunch and then take it out and inject himself with a whole bunch in another place and another place. He'd be out already. So take that into consideration too, not just putting away the heroin kit and pulling your sleeve down and buttoning it up. Wow. And his body, he would have laid right in the middle if he committed suicide. His body was to the far left at the end, in a means of like covering up what they did, but hiding it, but making it be able to be seen. If Courtney said, put a camera up on the front of the greenhouse, which is what he was doing, the electrician, he would have looked down and seen the body. But for some reason, I was told that that was removed from the official narrative. They made it seem like he came from the back door. I will be right back. Okay. I will be back in like 25 minutes, okay? I will stream all throughout the day today. I will see you in like 25.